After a 55-minute presentation by the Superintendent of Schools, this is the 8-minute presentation the Board of Finance chairman attempted to suppress and that Clinton's Board of Education doesn't want you to see because they feel totally insulated from any of the realities that might tame their budget. Those realities include a secular rather than cyclical decline in enrollment, declining state aid to education, a stunted tax base, a surge in debt service due in part to the new school, funding increasingly reliant on highly regressive property taxes, and taxpayers who are increasingly animated and organized to defeat unreasonable budget and tax increases. The time has come to adapt to this confluence of consequential realities, and yes, the Board of Education cannot remain immune forever. Most telling is the drop in enrollment, a loss of 380 students or 17.5% in the last 12 years. But there's no end in sight to that decline, which the Board of Education projects at off 419 students or 23.4% over the next 12 years. I project an even steeper decline of 575 students or 32%. The past 12 months should have prompted some real trimming, and certainly the next 12 months should produce trimming too. But while enrollment declined 12% over the last 5 years and state funding dropped 17%, education spending in Clinton increased 16%. The resulting burden on Clinton taxpayers has jumped a whopping 40%. This is simply not sustainable. The superintendent tries to mask these facts with this chart in her data pack. It attempts to dismiss Clinton's cost per pupil by exaggerating the differences by adjusting the scale of the chart, a trick Charlene Voice frequently criticized me for. But more importantly, these numbers exclude capital and debt service and cherry-pick districts for comparison. Now, state data excludes debt service and capital expenditures, but a fair comparison would be for Clinton to be compared with other districts in District Reference Group D. Our costs, even without debt service and capital expenditures, are well above the median of $15,950 at $17,584. And this is how that chart would look if it was on the same or similar scale to the superintendent's chart. And if the state reported debt service and capital expenditures, it would be even worse. The debt service and capital expenditures have become an increasingly significant portion of Clinton's public school budgets, at 9% for 2018-19, up from just 2% in 2013-14. Clinton's increased operating budget, plus its increased debt service and capital expenditures, combined with drops in enrollment, have pushed Clinton's total cost per pupil up 32% since 2013-14. But due to cuts in state aid, the cost per pupil falling to Clinton taxpayers has increased 41%. This has been a major driving factor, making Clinton's mill rate the highest on the shoreline. And who knows for sure how much further these proposed increases will push Clinton's mill rate next year. And according to the Connecticut Department of Revenue Services, property taxes are the second most regressive tax paid by Connecticut taxpayers. The superintendent may beg to differ, but only the callously indifferent would dismiss or minimize these facts. Someone has to adjust and adapt to these changes, and taxpayers have done more than their part. It is time for the Board of Education to adapt to reality. The sooner they do, the less severe the consequences. Why? Because overpaying for education drives up property taxes unnecessarily. It stars families' ability to save for college and retirement. It depresses home values, which is the single biggest investment many households own. It discourages commercial development, which is sorely needed in Clinton. It falls disproportionately on lower, middle, and fixed income households. And cost per pupil bears no correlation to performance. which could be another 20-minute presentation in itself for another time. Drops in enrollment not only means fewer students to educate, it also means fewer voter households with school-aged children. The education constituency in Clinton is deteriorating. So how can this be done? First, close Pearson. Consolidate the business manager and finance director, something that was done several years ago. It was broken up at that time. Consolidate maintenance and the Department of Public Works. Consolidate technology. Increase the class size for grades 5 through 12 to 25. Reduce the number of Morgan counselors to 3 from 4, as it was a few years ago when they had even more students to serve. Share administrative, secretarial resources, and use technology more effectively to augment education and to improve productivity. So long as the boards of education, selectmen, and finance keep increasing the operating budget, the administration is under zero pressure to undertake any of these cost-saving initiatives. Now that everyone understands why and how adaptation is required for sustainability, ignorance is no longer an excuse for callous indifference. Listen, if you will, to Eric and Kelvin, the Board of Education Chairman, and Marianne O'Donnell, the Clinton Superintendent of Schools, who talk the talk, but don't walk the walk.
With solemn and serious thought, the board recognizes that Clinton's demographics have changed, and the work of the district must evolve to reflect those changes. The current enrollment projections, as per NESDEC, which were compiled on November 7th of last year, indicate that we need to make some changes in staff allocation to better mirror the number of students we need to educate in each grade. Additionally, over the coming months, the board will be engaging in conversations that will center on the future use of and functionality of the district's facilities and resources to ensure that our work, while done in the best interest of our students, reflects Clinton's realities. It sets the stage for the evolution of the district as it continues to adapt to the evolution of the town.
I think it is a complex situation, and I guess I struggle because it continues to come back as if we are callous and we're proposing and just ignoring all this. This is a complex community issue. But your numbers and facts in terms of the fiscal reality in the state and what the bonding issues are in Clinton and the new high school are real. And we're very aware of that, and we talk about that all the time.
The Board of Education Chairman talks about evolution. Does that mean do more or do less? No, it simply means doing more with less. Thank you for watching. Think about it.